at 11 on
Right.
today,
Yeah.
and I requested coming by to see him because I had an eye exam last night in North Providence. That's the only place I could get an eye appointment to have my eyes checked
Right.
because Peter canceled my health insurance. And I didn't want him out in the damp air of the night, especially because he
Right.
was sick. So I said I'll pick Ari up today at 11 a.m. I said this yesterday, and
Okay.
he said that he wanted to wait and see how Ari was feeling in the morning. He might go to school. If he doesn't, 11 a.m. didn't work for him because he has to go to work. So he wanted to let me know. So I emailed him around 11:30, and I let him know that I will pick Ari up at 4 o'clock p.m. today. If he decided to send him at school, Ari better not have a fever and he better have his medication when I pick him up. Otherwise, I would go to the police because Peter has, in the past, sent Ari to school sick. I don't know if you have that documentation, but I actually had to take Ari to the doctor where he was diagnosed with a cold and a fever, even though Peter Shapiro screamed at me that I was just trying to keep him home from school because I wanted the day off because I was sick in Orlando.
Why did it change from? Did he go to school today? Do you know?
Yes, yes. If you see, Peter sent him to school, but what Peter did was he split the difference. He actually sent Ari to school in the morning, where he goes from 9 to 11:30 at Hope Highlands, and
Yeah.
then Peter wanted me to pick him up at 11:30 a.m. today. But Peter sent this email to me in the morning, and I'm in Connecticut, so there's no physical way for me to get to Ari in time to pick him up from school.
When did you find out you had to be in Connecticut?
I'm sorry, what's that?
When did you realize you had to be in Connecticut?
I didn't realize I had to be in Connecticut. I've been here since yesterday. Actually, I've been here since Monday, late Monday.
Oh, okay.
And I drove to.
You thought you would be available to pick him up at 11, but then you notified him that you couldn't be there at 11. That's why you suggested 4.
No, I actually told him I'll pick him up at 4 because I'm really sick and tired of trying to find out what's going on in my son's life. I'm sick of trying to make visitation schedules and being denied and obstructed by Peter Shapiro. And since I couldn't get there to pick my son up at the time that I thought would work best for Ari and myself, I told Peter, I don't know what's going on with Ari. Ari's not telling me how he's feeling. I will pick him up at 4 o'clock, knowing that Peter would either keep him home from school or Peter would send him to school and I would pick him up from his secondary school, which is Pumpkin Patch, at 4 o'clock.
You know if he's going to Pumpkin Patch today?
I've
Do you
called the
know?
school and he's not there. I don't know if Peter's taken him to Pumpkin Patch or not. I sent Peter an email, which I think I CC'd you on, I'm not sure, telling Peter that I will pick Ari up either at 4 o'clock at Pumpkin Patch or at his brother's home, whichever he chooses to do. Because I don't know if Ari's sick or how sick he is.
All right, I'll respond in an email to both of you, suggesting that you be allowed to pick up the child at 4 o'clock when the child's ready. If he's sick, you can take care of him just as long as the father can.
Okay.
If he's old enough to go to school, then he should be available to visit with you. So I'll send that email out to, I'll send that in a response to the email that you sent me at 12:30.
I appreciate that. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, I think it's.
I'd like to, before we get off on my thoughts, why don't we want to get you on the phone and handle what the problem is with the winter break?
Okay.
When's he off school?
He ends school on Friday. He has the weekend off, but I'm working. And I work nights, and I don't have access to a babysitter in Rhode Island.
When would you be available to have the child?
Sunday. Sunday through, I thought splitting him through the 27th was the fair way to do it because that's exactly the middle of the break.
Sunday is the 23rd, right?
Right.
Off the 21st, the 23rd, you're obviously keeping the child for Christmas. You want to keep the child through when? The 27th?
Right.
Where are you going? Do you know yet?
Well, I think we'll probably go to Connecticut for the 24th and the 25th, and then go into New York City on the 25th through the 27th.
On the 27th, you're going to be in New York.
Right. And I would guess Peter's going to New York City, but he's just telling me New York. I would imagine he's going to go stay with his friends, pardon me, in New York City. I've asked where he's going to be, And he said he's going to be in NY, like he told you.
Mm-hmm.
But New York's a pretty big state. And I do believe he's going to New York City, but it's not like he wrote back, we're going to be in New York City. I'm staying with, or I'm staying in such neighborhood. Um, Instead,
But it would make sense for the two of you, since if you're going to be in New York and he's going to be in New York, it would make sense for the exchange to take place there, correct?
it would completely make sense.
Correct?
It would completely make sense if he's going to be in New York City. As I said, he just said NY. I'm assuming that's New York City.
Hold on 1 minute. That's him on the. Hold on a minute.
Excellent, thank you. How do you leave a baby at school? How do you leave a kid that's been sick for a few days, just waiting, thinking his mom might be able to be there or might not?
Because he wants to blame you. He wants to make you look like the bad guy.
How are you going to blame me? I told you what my
He's gonna
intent
twist
was.
it and he's going to find a way. Yeah.
How can you twist the fact that I told you I will pick him up at 4?
Because he's cuckoo.
He is cuckoo. My kid's in the middle of all this crazy shit. And when did I know I need to be in Connecticut? When do I know I need to be in Rhode Island? Because I've made myself available, but nobody in Rhode Island is actually following through with taking care of my child, which is what I've been trying to do. I have emails saying I'm going to try to pick him up, and you're obstructing that. How are we going to... It says, why would you say, I better hope he's not running a fever and his medication is with him or we're driving right to the police station? How are we going to co-parent when you do or say things like that? How are we going to co-parent when you... How are we going to co-parent
When you don't pick him up at
when you don't pick him up at school?
Twice.
Right? How are we going to co-parent when I'm asking you?
When you don't let the mother know who's the other 50% of the unit.
Right.
Let the mother know what the schedules are ahead of time so
Right.
that things can be worked out properly so the kid isn't left at school.
Right.
The kid has a little sense of security.
This kid has no sense of security. Hello?
Lisa, 4 o'clock today at Pumpkin Patch.
Okay, so what are we doing about Christmas break?
I'm going to do that right now. Don't leave.
Okay.
All right? Be on the phone.
All
I
right.
want to get that piece out of the way.
Okay,
so
thank
now
you.
know 4 o'clock today, Pumpkin Patch.
Great, thank you.
Oh, good? Hold on 1 second.
Thank you. You know what I think Peter did? I think Peter didn't know if he was well enough to go to school full day. So he thought split the difference. Let him go for 2.5 hours because I have school. I have work. So I'm going to go to work, and she can deal with it if he gets a relapse or doesn't feel well when she picks him up. I think that's what he did.
I was thinking that downstairs.
Mm-hmm. But if that's what you wanted to do, then you should have said, like, hey, I'm going to send him to let's do a half day. Instead, you said I'm going to wait and see how the kid feels in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sick of jumping through hoops trying to do everything I can
And trying to do
from all
the
these
rest of
different
life,
time
too.
zones.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, it's easy for him.
It's easy for you. You live on a couch. You live in your brother's house.
Really? How difficult is it?
How
You go
difficult
with
is
him to
it?
School, to
You bring-
kindergarten.
Yeah, it's kindergarten.
It's a fucking big deal.
It's kindergarten. Can you not just get that done right? The kid's sick.
How much older is he than you?
Yeah, I know. He's what, 53?
Jesus. You're supposed to get
You have a part-time
better
job
age.
bagging groceries. Part-time job.
How humiliating is that?
For the first time since 2008, you actually went and got off your booty and got a job to provide for your child. You have a part-time job, and you can't coordinate. Yeah, you know what? He's probably well enough to go to school. Let's try for a half day. What do you think? Instead, I'm gonna make the decision. And you deal with it. I don't know where you are physically right now, but be there at 11:30. I'll let you know at 10 o'clock that you need to be somewhere in an hour and a half. Even though I've denied you visitation yesterday,
Yeah, that's
Even though I'm not telling you how the child's doing or making sure that you get Skype with your sick baby, guess what?
I can't believe that isn't even happening.
Well, no, there's no Skype. I've been asking for how long now?
A year.
It's been over a year.
Yeah. I can't believe you have not been able to do that once with your
I
kid.
didn't get to speak to my child on the day that those poor little babies were killed
They're treating
in
you
the massacre.
They're treating you like you're in prison.
I am in prison.
And you're not able to, you have restrictions on communication.
I am
That's
in
exactly
prison.
what they're treating you
I
like.
am in prison. Believe me, if you've ever been kept away from your child,
I can't even.
it is a prison.
If somebody kept me away from my pets, I'd go crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm already crazy. Remember, Peter said I'm crazy.
Oh yeah, we know.
I'm nuts.
You're
He doesn't have a job. They don't know if he's or if he's got OCD, or if he's. But I'm the crazy one, the one who's working,
right,
and actually able to sustain a career, and doesn't lie to the court.
And worried about your kid.
And I'm worried about my kid, and you're going to use him as a pawn. But I'm the crazy one. Poor kid.
Lisa,
Yep.
Sunday, let's say Sunday at 5 o'clock, but the return will be Thursday the 27th at 5 o'clock. Does that work for you?
You know what?
You gotta return the child at 1 o'clock and keep the child till 5 because you're not picking up till 5 on Sunday.
It really doesn't, because he goes to bed around 8 or 8:30, and I haven't really spent much time with him in a very long time. If you think it's more imperative for Peter and Ari to attend some sort of party or get together with another child and his father,
I don't even know what it is. Will you tell me what it is?
it's in your email, sir. It's in your email. Peter is denying me picking him up at 1 o'clock so we can have an afternoon, a lunch, and then an evening together because, according to him, it doesn't work for Ari or him because they have some sort of social engagement with another little boy and his father who Peter's become friendly with.
Okay. We'll make it 1 p.m. for you. How's that?
I would really appreciate that, especially since I'm still being denied Skype and my, I don't, I'm a little beside myself.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, well, come on. How would you feel if your son was sent to school possibly sick?
Please, I'm trying to get through these issues that
Thank you, sir.
that I don't get to, and would you just stay focused with me? It'll make it a lot easier for us to get through it. Okay, I'm trying to actually deal with the issues that you've been complaining about. I'm not addressing, so I'm trying to address them with you. So, he said he's going to be in Brooklyn on the 27th. How about you?
I'm going to be in New York City, in Manhattan.
You guys help me out here. Where's a place you could exchange it?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, maybe we can meet at Serendipity.
What's that?
Serendipity on the east side. It's an ice cream parlor.
Does he know where it is?
Yeah.
Or has he heard of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
On the east side. He would know what, when I say that to him, he's going to know what I mean, huh?
Imagine if he doesn't, he could probably go on Safari or Firefox and figure it out. But it's
East
pretty.
side of what? East side? Where?
Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Okay.
It's kind of in Midtown, actually. On the east side.
Before he lies to me, how far is that from Brooklyn?
I wouldn't know what part of Brooklyn he's staying in, so I can't really tell you that. I'm sorry.
How far would that be from where you're hanging out?
Approximately 25 minutes.
Okay. All right, let me click right back to you. Hold on a minute.
Thank you. Oh, I look stunning today. You know what's really shocking about this? I work in entertainment. We're all supposed to be very flighty. Anytime I send a message to my management team or entertainment lawyer, I hear back within a few hours tops. This is a child in the middle of a very acrimonious divorce. And I email all those concerned who are supposed to be watching out for my child's best interests, who don't even read the emails I send to them. Much less get back very often in a timely manner. And now I'm sitting on the phone. I'm in Connecticut and it's 1:16. I'm supposed to pick Ari up at 4. Been on the phone call for half an hour.
Lisa,
Yep.
you there?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. 1 o'clock to 1 o'clock, Sunday to the 27th. Instead of the ice cream parlor, an apartment building there
Okay.
at the lot. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's apartment.
He said it's his friend's apartment building. Or maybe you know the friend.
Okay. I'm really kind of opposed to him staying there. Her son is estranged from her and doesn't speak to her any longer because she abuses medication and because she also left him exposed to being sexually molested when he was a little boy.
Who is he staying with, do you think?
She also has a married name. I think it's. But her own son does not speak with her and does not bring the grandchildren over to visit, last I knew. This may have changed, in all fairness, but you should know that.
I'll get some information about it, but in the meantime, I'm going to send an email back to both of you confirming 4 o'clock today, pumpkin patch, 27th, Sunday the 23rd through the 27th, 23rd at 1 p.m., 27th, 1 p.m., and drop off or exchange take place, and I'll give you the address. Put it in there.
Okay, so is that even likely to change, or have you already made up your mind, or do you want to revisit the situation, or is this just done?
Talk to me about it. If I get some information, I'll send a follow-up email if I think it's something's inappropriate there. But if you don't hear from me, that'll be the location, so that you don't have to deal with him. Because I know that's a problem for you. So.
Well, sir, it hasn't been a problem for me. If you review those DVDs, you'll see exactly how Peter communicates with me verbally. And if you read these emails, you'll see that I'm having a lot of trouble getting information out of him, even as to my child's health. Until this morning, there's a very detailed message with an hour and a half's notice of where I'm to pick him up, even though I said that I'm not going to pick him up at that time.
Okay.
I think it's fair for you to please recognize we are having trouble communicating rather than I am having trouble communicating with Peter Shapiro. I mean, maybe I'm arguing semantics and you find that disrespectful, sir, but I don't mean to be disrespectful. I feel like, again, the language being processed doesn't exactly show objectivity.
By me.
Yeah, well, it's just like I'm on the road to further my career instead of the reality of I had to be on the road. And you're asking how long I've been in Connecticut when I have absolutely no responsibility to be anywhere.
Well, the reason why I asked you why you're in Connecticut, because I'm only looking at an email chain that you sent me that said that you were going to be picking up the child at 11.
This is very fair.
Then you wanted to pick him up at 4, so there was a gap
that
I didn't understand. And then I saw from your email that you are in Connecticut. That's the only reason why I asked why you're in Connecticut. You seem to infer a lot of things from what I'm saying and asking, and I would say to you most respectfully, that's inappropriate. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. They don't have to guess at it.
I appreciate where you're coming from, and I apologize. I did not give you all the information. My husband doesn't know that I'm in Connecticut, so he wouldn't have a way of knowing that I can't be there at 11:30, other than me sending him an email last night telling him I'll pick Ari up at 4, because I can't get an answer as to whether or not he's going to school. I don't know how he's doing. Nobody's telling me any medical information. And you don't have that information at your disposal. But please know, I am communicating with Peter Shapiro.
I never suggested you didn't. I was just following up on what you said to me, Lisa, which is you gave me kind of a rash of garbage because I suggested that the two of you try and work out the details. And I got an email from you and a message from you saying, that's silly, I can't talk to this guy. So now when I say to you, I'd like, let's just nail this thing down because I know you can't communicate with him. Now you're talking to me about, well, it's not like I can't communicate with him. It's just that he's being nasty to me. Well, I'm just trying to follow you here, and I'm just trying to help you get through this process. And again, I think it's reading in a little bit too much to what I'm suggesting to you. You wanted me to plug in the meat, so to speak, to the skeleton of the arrangement that I gave you. That's fine. I'm happy to do it. The other thing you want to understand is that at this time of year, it's very busy with a lot of Christmas holidays and scheduling and so forth. And I got that notice out to you early to let you know exactly what you couldn't plan on doing. And then I would get back to you if the two of you couldn't put in the details to it. But here we are on the 19th. We're talking about visitation that you know where you can go and where you can't go. And we just have to plug in the times and the pickups and the drop-offs. And here we are 4 days before that's necessary, and we're all set. So I appreciate the anxiety of needing to get this done. I appreciate everybody has plans. But to suggest that it's being ignored on my part is not accurate.
Well, when did you find out you were on the case?
I don't have the file in front of me, but probably
Why don't you have the file?
It's only about a week or so before you and I met. And I found out that this issue came down sometime in September. But I never got communication from either of the attorneys, other than an informal suggestion from Judy Assad passing me in the hallway saying, I'm getting out of the case, I think you're getting in on the case. But I didn't get anything formal from anyone for several weeks.
Is that usual?
Not particularly, no.
Well,
no.
It does
happen. I mean, it does happen, certainly. And to be fair, I would even say that it really wasn't so much Tim Collins' delay as much as I did get communication from Dan, and several times to Dan a request for contact information, and he was very slow in getting back to me, and then when he finally got back to me, he told me he was getting out of the case, which is probably why he was slow getting back to me. So I'm playing the cards I'm dealt here, but that's all I can do. So let me say goodbye to you, because I have Peter on the other line. I want to confirm all this stuff, and I want to get the email out, and, it's whatever time it is. What's it, 1:30?
Yeah, it's 1:30. I might not be able to get there by 4 o'clock now that we've been on the phone for so long, but I will be there as close to 4 as possible. He's able to be at school until 5:30. He won't be left behind waiting for me.
I'll suggest to Pete that you might be late, and that make sure that the kid stays there until you get there. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
Bye. Well, it's kind of an ambiguous answer. Why don't you have the case in front of you? Why don't you have the file in front of you, since we're talking about Ari's case? And what is a week before meeting me, or 2? That would be mid-November. And that's not what Mrs. Saad told me.